they go to these resorts to kick back and let how can I put it decompress, decompress from their shitty corporate lives,
Yeah.
So my thing is like, if your peace is subject to where you're at, that's not really peace, because your peace is still subject to the world's. That make sense?
I know. I was trying to tell my daughter that, because you know how it is, like 25-year-olds nowadays, the world is basically, it's easier for them to move around than it was for, say, somebody my age.
Yeah.
Because they got the internet and they're meeting people across the world, So for her, that's what she aspires to do, is travel and do all that stuff too. And I can't say anything because it's different times now, and that's how people are doing things,
Yeah, well, I'll just speak from my own experiences. I've got a family member recently that went to it wasn't Colombia, it was like Rio de Janeiro or some shit, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a great time. She had a great experience, and she did an ayahuasca retreat and all that shit,
Yeah.
And she said she had some deep experiences that helped her overcome some fears, but when guess what? She came back. She went right back into the cycle that she was in,
Yeah.
Went right back to the fucking cycle she was in. And ended up fucking, having issues with rent and giving some fucking cracker to fucking pay some nasty fucking looking cracker, to help her fucking pay goddamn, pay rent, It's just like acting, you're an actor. You can be whatever you want to be when they say roll, but when they say cut and you go home, you realize that you're still stuck with yourself. You can't run from yourself. And unfortunately, a lot of black people, especially our fucking men. I don't know. I'm just speaking about men I've seen, but I'm just got to fucking say it's about our men. Our men want to fucking run off, to fucking escape goddamn white supremacist society that they live in. You know what I'm trying to say? Truthfully, even these islands are still run by white supremacy to some degree.
They are.
You might not know.
But you heard of Nature Boy, right?
No, who's that?
Oh no, you didn't hear of him?
I'm googling it right now.
Nature Boy. He ran off to start his own thing, and he ended up getting attacked by the police, and it's all online. They got attacked and dragged and arrested and sent back to America.
What did he do?
He was refusing to leave, and they were telling him to leave, and he's like, he was living there, and he wanted to live off the grid, and you're not allowed. He didn't realize that you can't just move out of America and go live off the grid in a South American country.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that. But he thought he could, and then when he came back here, he decided to go to Belize. He tried it again in Belize, and just like the other day, he got kicked out of Belize.
So that confirms what I'm talking about. Meaning the pressure of being a black man in the white supremacist society is very, 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 very strenuous. You know what I'm saying? It puts a lot of weight on you, a lot of pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And these islands have lots of beautiful, exotic-looking women, right? Mm-hmm. And your money is going to last longer there. And you're not going to be stressed out. You know what I'm trying to say? Because the white supremacy there is, it still might be there, but they're smiling because they're happy too, and they're also getting massages. You know what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
But the point is that a lot of these indigenous people a lot of their way of life is also controlled by the economics of white supremacy too. You know what I'm trying to say? So it's not like you know, it's not like these little island nations have any power in the world, you know? So we're not going to get out of this shit. We're not getting out of this shit by goddamn escaping to an island. You know what I'm trying to say?
No.
We're getting out of this shit through transmuting our own falsehood, our own fears, our own pains, our own traumas within our DNA. And overcoming our oppressor by cultivating our souls and becoming gods. You know what I'm trying to say? That's what alchemy is, the perfection of your soul. You know, so what, you can't run from your own soul. No matter where you go, no matter where you hide, your soul is entrapped by this body. You know, so when we're trying to escape white supremacy, before there was white supremacy, we fell in this world and we were entrapped in these bodies, correct? So our bodies are also something that imprisons us, right? They're our first enemy before white people were ever even fucking created or came to be. So ultimately, they're only by us trying to be free from them and escape from them. Ultimately, what we're trying to be free from and escape from is this world in general. So my whole thing is that I don't want black men or black people in general. But I know the pressure, especially in a white supremacist society, is going to be harder on black men. So I'm just saying I don't want black men to think that they should escape it. Now, if you can't deal with it, you know, that's fine. You know, I understand. You know, do what you got to do, but don't promote it as if it's the way. You know what I'm trying to say? That makes sense. Don't promote it as if it's a way. I mean, there's even in the Bible, there's a story of Christ that he had to flee to Egypt. You know what I'm trying to say? For a short period of time when he was being pursued. You know, so I understand the pressure. But you know, if you need to get stronger and you know, and then come back, do it or do what you got to do. But the point is that by you giving up the fight, in terms, you know, like in terms of caring about others and your people, back where you're at, it's kind of like that we were talking about recently. We were talking about that slave movie called 12 Years a Slave. You know, he that guy got off. He got off the fucking plantation. You know, he got free, but even though he's free, there's still people suffering in bondage, you know, still getting whooped and shit, you know, and raped and shit, you know. So even if you're not there with him, your heart has to be there with him. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm just saying that I think some people's, and that's the story of Christ. See, Christ is in heaven, you know, and it comes back down to earth to free these people. He was in heaven. He could have stayed there. You know what I'm trying to say? But he comes down here to free your asses. So meaning that every man is supposed to be emulating that for their own spiritual alchemy and their own spiritual enlightenment. You know. So I'm just saying that we run the risk of black men by trying to run away from our fears and our anxieties of essentially becoming matrixed out.
Yeah.